Shila Bhakti-Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishtam Vishnupara Shitarashita Shila Bhakti-Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishtam Vishnupara Shitarashita Shila Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishtam Vishnupara Shitarashita Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishtam Vishnupara Shitarashita Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishta Maha-Bhagavat Shila Gokshara Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishta Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishta Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Patadasha Gunath Shara Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. नाम चय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री मुनि देवी गंग देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं त्वत्पायनो विरह कातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवो विनेदुस्तं सर्वभूत हृदयामुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रयेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितराङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि तं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Oops. Let's see who's all there. Dandavat Pranam Zakarkaraji, Madhavi Didi, Raseshwari Mataji, Ganga Didi, and Rup Manjari Didi. Dandavat Pranams to all of you. Hari Bol. So we're continuing today we're reading the last prayer to Nara-Nārāyaṇa by Nārada and Bhārata-varṣa, where we are. And then we'll read a description. So that's the 9th prayer. We read what did we read? We read the prayers from Shiva to Sankarshan. Bhadrashrava to Hayashirsha, Prahlad's prayer to Lord Nrsingadev, Lakshmi's prayer to Kamadev, Vaivasvata Manu's prayer to Matsya, Aryama's prayer to Kurma, and Bhumi's prayer to Varahadev. And then yesterday we read, Hanuman's prayer to Lord Ram, and today is Nara to Nara-Nārāyaṇa, and then we'll read about the mountains, rivers, and inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa. That's our reading for today. Okay, so let's. This is what we read yesterday. In Kimpurusha-varṣa, Hanuman, along with other inhabitants, is engaged in devotional service to Lord Ram, the elder brother of Lakshman, and the dear husband of Sita Devi. Hanuman constantly hears the most auspicious glories of Lord Ram sung by Gandharvas along with Arshtisena, the chief person in Kimpurusha-varṣa. He chants the following mantras. Obeisances to Lord Ram, who is worshipped with selected verses and has all the good qualities of advanced personalities, who is in control of his senses and mind, who is worshipped by all classes of living entities, who is like a stone for verifying all the good qualities of a sadhu. That is, on attaining Lord Ram, all good qualities reach their perfection. Lord Ram, who is worshipped by the most qualified Brahmins, the Supreme Person, the King of Kings. I surrender to the Lord Ramachandra. His form is transcendently pure, and he is one without a second. Because of his spiritual potency, he is untouched by the material modes. He is not to be seen with material eyes, devoid of all disturbances, and realized by one in pure consciousness. He has no material form and name. I surrender unto him. Lord Ram descends to teach mortal beings. The appearance of Lord Ram as a human in this world is to teach people. It is not for the purpose of killing Ravan. Otherwise, why would he, the enjoyer who is satisfied in himself, suffer in separation from Sita? There's a note here. Lord Ram's separation from Sita can be understood from 3 perspectives. 1. He taught the followers of Dharma that a dutiful husband should give his chaste wife full protection and endure all sufferings for her. He taught the devotees that entering married life is followed by many tribulations. And 3. He experienced transcendental bliss in the spiritual vipralambaras, or viraha, though his lamentation appeared to be material tribulation. Link. A further reason to show that he descended to teach human beings. Lord Ram, the supersoul of all self-realized souls, and their best friend, is not attached to anything in this material world. 1 second. His suffering and separation from his wife and banishing Sita and Lakshman are to teach how dutiful a king should be and also indicate his prema for his devotees. Material qualities are not the basis for Lord Ram's friendship. The Lord is not pleased by one's birth, wealth, eloquence, intelligence, or beauty. Still he, the brother of Lakshman, made friendship with us forest dwellers who are devoid of those assets. No, the speaker of this verse is Sugriv. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Ram is easily satisfied with little service. Everyone, be they demigod, demon, man, animal, or bird, should worship Lord Ramachandra, who appears on this earth just like a human being. He brought all the devotees of Ayodhya back home, back to Godhead, Vaikuntha. So now we'll begin. Prayers to Nara-Nārāyaṇa by Nārada in Bhārata-varṣa. Dandavat pranams Prajumna Prabhu and Mantramurti Mataji. Facebook user, I don't know who this is, but yes, we are on YouTube. You're watching from the Gaudiya Kirtan live page, right? I don't know if it's possible for me to send. Yesterday, Rupa Manjari, she sent the link on my personal Facebook page, but yeah, yes, it's on YouTube. I don't know how to get it to you though right now. Just send me a personal message and I'll share the link of my YouTube channel. All right, let's begin. Text 8. No, text 9. Bhārate-varṣa Bhagavan Nara-Nārāyaṇakhya akalpantam upachita dharma jnana vairagyaishvaryo pashamo paramatma palambanam. Whoa, that was long. Look, that was all one word. I think I did that okay, right? Vairagyaishvaryo pashamo paramatmano palambanam. Anugrahayatmavatam anukampaya tapo vyakta gatish charati. Shukadev Goswami continued, the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are inconceivable. He has appeared in the form of Nara-Nārāyaṇa in the land of Bhārata-varṣa, at the place known as Badarikashram, to favor his devotees by teaching them religion, knowledge, renunciation, spiritual power, sense control, and freedom from false ego. He is advanced in the opulence of spiritual assets, and he engages in executing austerity until the end of this millennium. This is the process of self-realization. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. People in India may visit the temple of Nara-Nārāyaṇa at Badarikashram just to learn. Oops. Sorry, my mic was covered. Okay. People in India may visit the temple of Nara-Nārāyaṇa at Badarikashram just to learn how the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his incarnation as Nara-Nārāyaṇa engages in austerities to teach people of the world how to achieve self-realization. It is impossible to realize oneself simply by absorbing oneself in speculation and material activities. One must be very serious about self-realization and the practice of austerity. Unfortunately, the people of this age of Kali do not even know the meaning of austerity. Under these circumstances, the Lord has appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to bestow upon the fallen souls the easiest method of self-realization, technically called Chaito Darpana Marjanam, cleansing of the dirt from the core of one's heart. This method is extremely simple. Anyone can chant the glorious Krishna Sankirtan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In this age, there are different forms of so-called advanced scientific knowledge, such as anthropology, Marxism, Fredunism? How do you say that? Anyways, what is that? That is relating to or influenced by Sigmund, I don't know how you say his name, Freudian. Is it Freud? Freud, whatever. And his methods of psychoanalysis, especially with reference to the importance of sexuality in human behavior. Freudian concept of the super-ego. Interesting. Susceptible to analysis in terms of unconscious desires. Okay. Sorry. Anthropology. I've heard that word before, actually. Anthropology, Marxism, Freudianism. I don't know how you say that. Nationalism and industrialism. So in this age, there are those different kinds of scientific knowledge. But if we work very hard under their guidance, instead of adopting the process practice, but if we work very hard under their guidance, instead of adopting the process practiced by Nara-Nārāyaṇa, we shall waste our valuable human form of life. Thus we shall certainly be cheated and misled. I say Shri Mataji is saying the word for me here.
Freudianism.
Say it. Wait 1 second. I just want to hear.
Freudianism.
Okay. Freudianism. Anyways, okay. Okay. Certainly be cheated and misled. Tang Bhagavan Narado Varnashrama Bhaktibhir Bharatibhir Prajabhir Bhagavat Proktabhyam Sankhya Yogabhyam Bhagavar Anubhavopavarnanam Savarner Upadekshmana Parama Bhakti Bhavino Pasarati Idam Cha Grinati. Sorry, guys, that was probably annoying. Okay. In his own book, known as Narad Pancharatra, Bhagavan Narad has very vividly described how to work to achieve the ultimate goal of life, devotion, through knowledge and through execution of the mystic yoga system. He has also described the glories of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The great sage Narada instructed the tenets of this transcendental literature to Savarni Manu, in order to teach those inhabitants. Narada instructed those tenets of this transcendental literature to Savarni Manu in order to teach those inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa who strictly follow the principles of Varnashram Dharma how to achieve the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, Narad Muni, along with the other inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa, always engages in the service of Nara-Nārāyaṇa, and he chants as follows. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has clearly declared, Bharata bhumite hoila manushya janma jar, janma sartak kori koro para upakar. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 9:41. The real success or fulfillment of the mission of human life can be achieved in India, Bhārata-varṣa, because in Bhārata-varṣa, the purpose of life and the method for achieving success are evident. People should take advantage of the opportunity afforded by Bhārata-varṣa, and this is especially so for those who are following the principles of Varnashram Dharma. If we do not take to the principles of Varnashram Dharma by accepting the 4 social orders, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, and the 4 orders of spiritual life, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas, there can be no question of success in life. Unfortunately, because of the influence of Kali Yuga, everything is now being lost. The inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa are gradually becoming degraded Malechas and Yavans. How then will they teach others? Therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement has been started not only for the inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa, but for all the people of the world, as announced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is still time, and if the inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa take this movement of Krishna consciousness seriously, the entire world will be saved from gliding down to a hellish condition. The Krishna consciousness movement follows the process of Pancharatrik Vidhi and that of Bhagavat Vidhi simultaneously, so that people can take advantage of the movement and make their lives successful. Om Namo Bhagavate Upashama Shilayo Paratanat Nyaya Namo Kinchana Vitaya Rishi Rishabhaya Nara-Nārāyaṇaya Paramahamsa Parama Gurave Atmaramadipataye Namo Nama Iti. And I'm not sure how to. I need to look this up, how to nicely explain what Pancharatrik Vidhi is and Bhagavat Vidhi. Just off the top of my head, my understanding is Pancharatrik Vidhi. I don't know, God, probably someone here can explain it much better than I can. But Pancharatrik Vidhi is more pertaining to the rules, like, actually, no, I shouldn't explain it because I can't. I'm just thinking of Pancharatric Parampara and Bhagavat Parampara. The Pancharatric Parampara is the line of gurus by Diksha, like this is the guru of this person. But Bhagavat Parampara is the line of gurus by shiksha, by heart, like by the teachings, not just by who took initiation from who, but who's really fully, I don't know, I'm not good at explaining this. So Pancharatric Vidya, I'm guessing, is more like the rules and regulations of scripture, like kind of more like the Vaidhi process. And Bhagavat Vidya is not just strictly the rules of scriptures, but more also the essence of the teachings of Mahaprabhu, like that. But that was a terrible explanation, and I need to look into this to be able to explain it better. Okay, so here's Narada's prayers to Nara-Nārāyaṇa Rishi. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Nara-Nārāyaṇa, the best of all saintly persons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the most self-controlled and self-realized. He is free from false prestige, and he is the asset of persons who have no material possessions. He is the spiritual master of all Paramahamsas, who are the most exalted human beings, and he is the master of the self-realized. Let me offer my repeated obeisances at his lotus feet. Gayati Chedam, what's that mean? He sings and this. Okay. Kartasya sargadishu yo na bhadyate, na hanyate deha gato pidaihikai, drashtur nadrigyasya kunar vidushyate, tasmai namot sakta vivikta shakshine. 1 second, also, I'm just turns. Anyways. Wait. Glossary of terms. That might be it. Yes, there it is. Okay. Narada, the most powerful saintly sage, also worships Nara-Nārāyaṇa by chanting the... Oh, I just read that, didn't I? Anyways, I'm going to read it again. By chanting the following mantra, we have a lot of time today because it's a short reading. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of the creation, maintenance and annihilation of this visible cosmic manifestation. Yet he is completely free from false prestige. Although to the foolish he appears to have accepted a material body like us, he is unaffected by bodily tribulations like hunger, thirst, and fatigue. Although he is the witness who sees everything, his senses are unpolluted by the objects he sees. Let me offer my respectful obeisances to that unattached, pure witness of the world, the Supreme Soul, the Personality of God. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is described as Satchidananda Vigraha, the body of eternity, transcendental bliss, and full knowledge. Now, in this verse, he is more fully described. Krishna is the creator of the entire cosmic manifestation, yet he is unattached to it. If we were to construct a very tall skyscraper, we would be very attached to it. But Krishna is so renounced that although he has created everything, he is not attached to anything. Nabadyate. Furthermore, although Krishna has his transcendental form, Satchidananda Vigraha, he is not disturbed by the bodily necessities of life, which are called daihik. For example, he is never hungry, thirsty, or fatigued. Nahanyate deho gato daihikai. Then again, since everything is Krishna's property, he sees everything and is present everywhere. But because his body is transcendental, he is above vision, the objects of vision, and the process of vision. When we see someone beautiful, we are attracted. The sight of a beautiful woman immediately attracts a man, and the sight of a man naturally attracts a woman. Krishna, however, is transcendental to all these faults. Although he is the seer of everything, he is not afflicted with faulty vision. Nadrigyasya gunar vidushyate. Therefore, although he is the witness and seer, he is aloof from all affection for the activities he sees. He is always unattached and separate. He is only a witness. And 1 second, I just want to check. I was really unsatisfied with Pancharatric Vidhi. I just want to get the definition for this. Pancharatric. Here. That's a very helpful explanation. The principle of following the practices of Pancharatra. Yes. And Pancharatra is... Okay. Never mind. It is... Let me make this big so you can see. So the principle of following the practices of Pancharatra, and Pancharatra is a group of Bhakti Shastras which assists the principal Angas, limbs of Bhakti, which is Bhagavad Vidhi, the hearing of Sri Nam. They cover 5 topics. Abhigaman, the process of cleansing the mandir, etc. 2. Upadhan, performing artik with flowers, incense, etc. Ijya, worship, bathing, etc. of Sri Vishnumurti. 4. Swadhyaya, performance of mantra japa, meditation on Sri Nam and Sri Gayatri. And 5. Yoga, recitation of stotrams, verses and prayers. Performance of Nam Kirtan, and study of Shastras such as Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which establish Tattva Gyan. The Pancharatras are numerous. Some of them are prominent in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, like the Sri Narada Pancharatra, the Hayashirsha Pancharatra, and the Sri Shandilya Pancharatra. Okay, so that's interesting. And then Bhagavad Vidhi, let's find definition of Bhagavad Vidhi. It says here the hearing of Sri Nam, but I'm sure there's more to that. Oh, come on. Let me just look here. B. Bhagavad. Anyways, they don't have it here. Anyways, whatever. Okay, I spent enough time on that. Idam hi yogeshvara yoga naipunam hiranyagarbho bhagavan jagadayat yadantakale tvai nirgune mano bhaktya dadito jita dushkale vara. O my Lord, master of all mystic yoga, this is the explanation of the yogic process spoken of by Lord Brahma, Hiranyagarbha, who is self-realized. At the time of death, all yogis give up the material body with full detachment, simply by placing their minds at your lotus feet. That is the perfection of yoga. Srila Madhvacharya says, Yasya samyag bhagavati jnana bhaktis tataivacha nischintas tasya moksha syat sarva papa krito pitu. For one who very seriously practices devotional service during his lifetime in order to understand the constitutional position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, liberation from this material world is guaranteed, even if he has previously been addicted to sinful habits. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadur eva samantavya samyag vyavasito hisa. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. Bhagavad Gita 9:30. The only purpose of life is to be fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and his form, pastimes, activities, and qualities. If one is able to think of Krishna in this way 24 hours a day, he is already liberated. Sarupena vyavastiti. Where lists are absorbed in material thoughts and activities, Devotees, on the contrary, are always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and Krishna's activities. Therefore, they are already on the platform of liberation. One has to think of Krishna with full absorption at the time of death. Then he will certainly return home back to Godhead, without a doubt. I'm just checking the comments really quick. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Prajuna Prabhu shared some quotes with us where he said, here are two different ways of approaching the Lord. One is called Bhagavat Marg, or the way of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And the other is called Pancharatrik Vidhi. Pancharatrik Vidhi is the method of temple worship. And Bhagavat Vidhi is a system of 9 processes which begin with hearing and chanting. The Krishna consciousness movement accepts both processes. Okay, cool. Thank you. That was perfect, Prajuna Prabhu. Thank you so much. Now it's a lot more clear. Thank you. Let me just hide. Okay. That makes it so clear. So Bhagavat Vidhi is the 9 is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, the 9 limbs of bhakti. And Pancharatrik is like the rules and regulations, and Nara Pancharatra, temple worship, all that. Okay, and those 5 things that we read. Okay, I just read this, right? I can't remember. I'm just going to do it again. Yataihikan mushmika kamalampata suteshu dhareshu dhaneshu chintayan shanketa vidvan kukale varatyayad yastasya yatna shrama eva kevalam. Materialists are generally very attached to their present bodily comforts and to the bodily comforts they expect in the future. Therefore, they are always absorbed in thoughts of their wives, children, and wealth, and are afraid of giving up their bodies, which is full of stool and urine. If a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, however, is also afraid of giving up his body, what is the use of his having labored to study the Shastras? It was simply a waste of time. Wow, that's a really heavy thing. If a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, however, is also afraid of giving up his body, what is the use of his having labored to study the Shastras? It was simply a waste of time. Wow. Purport. At the time of death, a materialist thinks of his wife and children. He is absorbed in thinking of how they will live and who will take care of them after he leaves. Consequently, he is never prepared to give up his body. Rather, he wants to continue to live in his body to serve his society, family, friends, and so on. Therefore, by practicing the mystic yoga system, one must become detached from bodily relationships. If, despite practicing bhakti yoga and studying all the Vedic literature, one is afraid of giving up his bad body, which is the cause of all his suffering, what is the use of his attempts to advance in spiritual life? The secret of success in practicing yoga is to become free from bodily attachments. Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, Deha smriti nahi jar, sangsar bandhan kahan tar. One whose practice has freed him from the anxieties of bodily needs is no longer in conditional life. Such a person is freed from conditional bondage. A person in Krishna consciousness must fully discharge his devotional duties without material attachment. Then his liberation is guaranteed. Tanna prabhutvam kukale vararpitam tanmayayaham mamatam adhokshaja bindyamanyenashu vayam sudurbidham videhi yogam tvaina swabhavam iti. Therefore, O Lord, O Transcendence, kindly help us by giving us the power to execute bhakti yoga so that we can control our restless minds and fix them upon you. We are all infected by our illusory energy. Therefore, we are very attached to the body, which is full of stool and urine, and to anything related to the body. Except for devotional service, there is no way to give up this attachment. Therefore, kindly bestow upon us this benediction. Purport. The Lord advises in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana Bhavamar Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Bhagavad Gita 1865. The perfect yoga system consists of always thinking of Krishna, always engaging in devotional service, always worshipping Krishna, and always offering obeisances unto him. Unless we practice this yoga system, our illusory attachment for this bad body, which is full of stool and urine, is impossible to give up. The perfection of yoga consists of giving up attachment for this body and bodily relationships, and transferring that attachment to Krishna. We are very attached to material enjoyment, but when we transfer that same attachment to Krishna, we traverse the path of liberation. One has to practice this yoga system and none other. Bharate pyasmin varshe sharich chayla santi bahavo malayo mangala prasto mainakas trikuta rishabha kutaka kolaka sahyo devagirir Rishyamukha Sri Shailo Venkato Mahendro Varidharo Vindhya Shuktiman Rikshagiri Pariyatro Dronas Chitrakuto Govardhano Raivataka Kakubho Nilo Goka Mukha Indrakila Kamagirir Iti Chanye Chashata Sahasrasha Shailas Tesham Nitamba Prabhava Nada Nadyash Cha Santa Sankyata. I see stuff about rivers and mountains. Okay, so I guess that's the end of Narada's prayers to Nara-Nārāyaṇa. In the tract of land known as Bhārata-varṣa, as in Ilavrita-varṣa, there are many mountains and rivers. Some of the mountains are known as Malaya, Mangala-prastha, Mainaka, Trikuta, Rishabha, Kutaka, Kolaka, Sahya, Devagiri, Rishyamukha, Sri Shaila, Venkata, Mahendra, Varidhara, Vindhya, Shuktiman, Rikshagiri, Pariyatra, Drona, Chitrakuta, Govardhan. And Chitrakuta also, that's the, isn't that where the monkeys are? Chitrakuta? Oh God, Ram's monkeys? Whatever. Govardhan, Raivataka, Kakubha, Nila, Gokamukha, Indrakila, and Kamagiri. Besides these, there are many other hills, with many large and small rivers flowing from their slopes. Oh, that's a long one. Okay. Itasam apo bharatya praja namabhir eva punantinam atmana chopa sprishanti chandra vasa tamra parni avatoda kritamala vaihayasi kaveri veni payasvini sharkaravarta tungabhadra krishnavenya Bhimarati Godavari Nirvindhya Payoshni Tapa Reva Surasa Narmada Charmanvati Sindhur Andha Shonash Chanado Mahanadi Veda Smritir Rishi Kulya Trisama Koshiki Mandakini Yamuna Saraswati Drishyadvati Gomati Sarayu Rodhaswati Saptavati Sushoma Shatadrush Chandrabhaga Marudvridha Vitasta Asikni Vishveti Mahanadya. Two of the rivers, the Brahmaputra and the Shona, are called nadas, or main rivers. These are other great rivers that are very prominent. Chandravasa, Tamraparni, Avatoda, Kritamala, Vaihayasi, Kaveri, Veni, Payasvini, Sarkaravarta, Tungabhadra, Krishnavenya, Bhima Rati, Godavari, Nirvindya, Payoshni, Tapi, Reva, Surasa, Narmada, Charmanvati, Mahanadi, Vedasmriti, Rishikulya, Trisama, Koshiki, Mandakini, Yamuna, Saraswati, Drishadvati, Gomati, Sarayu, Rodaswati, Saptavati, Sushoma, Shatadru, Chandrabhaga, Marudvridha, Vitasta, Asikni, and Vishwa. The inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa are purified because they always remember these rivers. Sometimes they chant the names of these rivers as mantras, and sometimes they go directly to the rivers to touch them and bathe in them. Thus the inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa become purified. Purport. All these rivers are transcendental. Therefore, one can be purified by remembering them, touching them, or bathing in them. This practice is still going on. Asmin eva varshe purushar labdha janmadhi shukla lohita krishna varnena swarabdhena karmana divya manusha naraka gatayo bhavya atmana anupurvyena sarva hyeva sarvesham vidiyante yatha varna vidhanam apavargash chapi bhavati. The people who take birth in this tract of land are divided according to the qualities of material nature, the modes of goodness, sattvagun, passion, rajagun, and ignorance, tamagun. Some of them are born as exalted personalities. Some are ordinary human beings, and some are extremely abominable. For in Bhārata-varṣa, one takes birth exactly according to one's past karma. If one's position is ascertained by a bona fide spiritual master, and one is properly trained to engage in the devotional service of Lord Vishnu according to the four social divisions, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and the four spiritual divisions, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas, one's life becomes perfect. Oh, I think I'm going over. What are we supposed to read to today? Let me check. Daily Bhagavatam. Oh, we're reading to 20. Okay. Never mind. Purport. For further information, one should refer to Bhagavad Gita 14:18 and 18 verses 42 to 45. Srila Ramanujacharya writes in his book Vedanta Sangraha. Oh man. Evam Vidya Parabhakti Sarupa Jnana Visheshayotpadaka Purvokta Harahar Upachiyamana Jnana Purvaka Karmanugrihita Bhakti Yoga Eva Yatoktam Bhagavata Parasharena Varanashrameti. Nikila Jagar Udharanyaya Vanitale Bhaktirnam Parabrahmabhuta Purushottama Swayam Etar Uktavan Sakarma Nirata Siddhim Yatha Vindati Tatrenu Yatha Pravrittir Bhutanam Yena Sarvam Idam Tatam Sakarmanatam Abhyarcha Siddhim Vindati Manava. Quoting from the Vishnu Purana 389, the great sage Parashar Muni has recommended Varnashrama Charavata Purushena Parapuman Vishnur Aradate Panta Nanya Tattoshakaranam. Oh, this is a famous verse. This is in Rai Ramananda Samvad, isn't it? Pretty sure. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashram. There is no other way to satisfy the Lord. In the land of Bhārata-varṣa, the institution of Varnashram Dharma may be easily adopted. At the present moment, certain demoniac sections of the population of Bhārata-varṣa are disregarding the system of Varnashram Dharma. Because there is no institution to teach people how to become Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras or brahmacharis, grahastas, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis, these demons want a classless society. This is resulting in chaotic conditions. In the name of secular government, unqualified people are taking to the supreme governmental posts. Oops, my mic was down. No one is being trained to act according to the principles of Varnashram Dharma, and thus people are becoming increasingly degraded and are heading in the direction of animal life. The real aim of life is liberation, but unfortunately, the opportunity for liberation is being denied to people in general, and therefore their human lives are being spoiled. The Krishna consciousness movement, however, is being propagated all over the world to re-establish the Varnashram Dharma system and thus save human society from gliding down to hellish life. Okay, we're ending with this verse today. Yaso bhagavati sarva bhutatmanyanatmye nirukte nilayane paramatmani vasudeve nanya nimitta bhakti yoga lakshano nanagati nimitta vidya granthi randhana dvarena yadahi mahapurusha purusha prasanga. After many, many births, when the results of one's pious activities mature, one gets an opportunity to associate with pure devotees. Then one is able to cut the knot of bondage to ignorance, which bound him because of varied fruitive activities. As a result of associating with devotees, one gradually renders service to Lord Vasudeva, who is transcendental, free from attachment to the material world, beyond the mind and words, and independent of everything else. That bhakti yoga, devotional service to Lord Vasudeva, is the real path of liberation. Purport. Brahman realization is the beginning of liberation, and Paramatma realization is still further advanced. Let me reread that. Brahman realization is the beginning of liberation, and Paramatma realization is still further advancement toward the realm of liberation. But one achieves real liberation when he understands his position as an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Muktir hitvanyata rupam sarupena vyavastiti. In the material world and the bodily concept of life, everyone is working in the wrong direction. When one becomes Brahma-bhuta, spiritually realized, one understands that he is not the body and that working in the bodily concept of life is useless and misdirected. Then his devotional service begins. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 18:54, Brahma-bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. One who is thus transcendentally situated realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Devotional service is actual liberation. When one is attracted by the beauty of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his mind is always engaged at the Lord's lotus feet, he is no longer interested in subjects that do not help him in self-realization. In other words, he loses all attraction for material activities. In the Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7, it is said, Esha hyevanandayati yada hyevaisha etasmin nadrishye natmye anirukte nilayane bhayam patishtam vindate ta so bhayam gato bhavati. A living entity becomes established in spiritual blissful life when he fully understands that his happiness depends on spiritual self-realization, which is the basic principle of ananda, bliss, and when he is eternally situated in the service of the Lord, who has no other Lord above him. Etad eva hideva gayanti. Aho amesham. Oh, sorry, we're ending here. But I think we had to learn this verse in Puri when I was living in the mat there. Yeah, I remember this verse. Yep, this is a very famous verse, so we'll begin that verse tomorrow. Aho amesham kimakari shobhanam tasana esham. So, yep, this is a good verse. Okay. So what are we reading tomorrow? We'll read the demigods glorify Bhārata-varṣa, and then we'll read the islands around Jambudvip. That's tomorrow. All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh my God. Did I have that open the whole time? No, I didn't. I don't think so. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Haribo Nitai Gaur, Haribo Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo Nitai Gaur, Haribo. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari, Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtatarashatashmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtatarashatashmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtatarashatashmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtatarashatashmad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtatarashatashmad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Maha-Bhagavat Shila Gokshtaras Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupana Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shila Hairas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माय की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवाय कृष्ण भक्ति प्रद देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। धन्यवाद प्रणाम। And we have gone past the halfway point in our reading now. See, that's what we have left. No, this right there. What's Manjuli saying? Okay, we use Pancharatra Vidhi primarily, very little reference to Vaikanis. Ramanuja switched from Vaikanis agamas, which are not so clear about philosophy. Pancharatra, interesting. And Madhva just took that. They use Vaikanas Tantra. Interesting. They consider themselves straight up Brahmins, not part of four. Okay, that's interesting. I'm curious to look into that more now, so I get a really solid understanding of Pancharatra and Bhagavad Gita. Anyways, okay, thank you for joining me. Haribol. See you all tomorrow. Haribol.